Hello everyone! Welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel. This is me, Annie, and I will be drawing for you today. Let me see your tea, coffee, snacks, everything ready? Let's dive into today's video. I have a confession. My name is Annie, I'm an artist, and I have an art block. I'm waiting for a round of applause like in those alcoholic groups, you know? Yeah, she said that. Good job. And I don't mean to devalue those groups, you know, it's just a joke, okay? Chill. I have a lot of thoughts recently and they've been living rent-free in my head. Literally cannot get rid of them. So I thought maybe talking them through will help me get rid of this endless cycle of going down the overthinking spiral. And maybe some of them are relatable to you as well. So let's share our concerns in the comments and, you know, discuss and help each other out. Free the burden from our souls, you know. So one big thing that's been happening to me for a while now is probably what is triggering my art block right now, but I've been trying to draw and do something interesting and maybe, you know, put my skills into a nice project or drawing or anything like that. But every drawing that comes out of my pencil just doesn't seem to be good enough, or like it feels underwhelming, because as soon as I'm done doing it, I look at it and I feel like there is nothing special about it. Like I like it for a moment and then I'm like, okay, what's next? So yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm just doing this on such an automatic level. It doesn't feel any important, or I don't know how to make sense out of this ramble, but that's when I usually get this art block feeling, when I'm like just picking up the sketchbook, looking through the sketches that I've made before and thinking which one should I work on next, but none of them look appealing enough. Also, the thought of making a new sketch is overwhelming, because like, okay, so if these hundreds of sketches that's done already don't fire up the spark in my brain, you know, of inspiration or anything, or like excitement, what's the point of doing another such sketch? I don't know why, but sometimes it just feels that way. Maybe because it just stays in the sketchbook and nothing happens to the art next, and maybe perhaps doing something with the art, like an item or like a print, or maybe putting it on a mug or like a shirt, maybe something like that would help me feel the work put into, you know, the work and creative process. And also like designing a product, like a physical thing to have in my hands, could also help spark the inspiration of some sort, because it's a whole new creative process, because you need to, you know, design and keeping the item itself in mind, which also helps to help my brain work in the other ways that it's used to. So maybe that will also help this feeling of underwhelming and overwhelming at the same time. I don't know how this can be, but right now I'm literally feeling both underwhelmed and overwhelmed at the same time. And I'm not sure of the reason, to be honest. Which brings me to a second thing that's been living rent-free in my head, that maybe I am somewhere on the spectrum of the mental disorder, because that doesn't seem normal at all. Like, even though I've been living with these kind of symptoms most of my life that I can remember myself, now I start to realize that most of the people, they don't have it this way. Like, I really struggle sometimes with such simple tasks, and I feel a massive guilt for not making, or like for not being able to do some regular stuff, like staying organized and keep my desk clean, and like, you know, plan some regular home chores and everything like that. Like, the preparation for these tasks can take so much time that it seems unreasonable to do the task in the first place. And I feel so dumb for feeling this way, because I want to be functional and not be a burden to my family members, you know. I want to live life and be useful. Like sometimes even speaking feels like too much because it requires so much concentration. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I'm speaking not my mother tongue, but like you guys don't know that, but you can't imagine how much I'm editing my speech right now because I'm stopping. I'm literally thinking for seconds before I can continue speaking. If I wouldn't edit, my speech would sound very, very slow and I would repeat myself over and over again. And also these awkward pauses, they would be endless. They would be just too long. Also, I'm not sure why is that. Maybe it's because I'm here speaking to myself, literally sitting in the room with no person in it. And I'm still not sure how to, just keep talking without any other input from the outside, because that's how my brain gets stimulated. Like, it's much easier to answer somebody when they're talking to you than just keep talking to yourself. So yeah, whenever I need to go and record like a voiceover or something, I'm struggling a lot. Like, I have to beat myself up to go upstairs into this studio room and just go sit here and start recording. And maybe I can come up with some idea or topic, or it can be sounding any decent. And don't get me wrong, I have like all the help in this world and I'm not complaining. I'm just expressing my concerns. Like, I hope I'm not the only one struggling through this, because sometimes it feels very lonely, because when I tell people of my problems, they just don't seem to understand. It's not that I choose to be lazy, even though sometimes I do choose to be lazy, because if I feel like tired, I won't push myself, because I just know that nothing good will happen out of it. And if I need to take a rest, I'll just go and rest and then try with fresh power and fresh mind. Like, the only thing that concerns me is getting stuck in this cycle of laziness. And my friend Yara, who's also editing these videos and everything, puts everything together and actually made this channel possible. Without her, I wouldn't be doing this. But she gave me a whole bunch of everything to help me with the process, like the recording and some voiceover tips and topics. And like, I have all this information, and I have my own journal too. Like, I'm writing down all the ideas that I get from other artists, or like just random ideas that can pop in my head, and I'm writing them to do that. But still, even though I have all these tools and they're clearly already here for me to use, I'm just sitting behind the empty table, not being able to do anything, because slightest distraction can get my brain or get my mind out of this creative flow. It just takes me out of this concentration, and then I'm trying all my best to go back to the task, and that takes immense of my effort and energy to do that. So in the end, after doing just one video or like one voiceover, I can feel exhausted, as if I was working like outside all day in a construction. Literally feels that way. After saying all this, I feel like I'm sounding such a spoiled brat, like, oh, look at me, I'm an artist, I'm doing funny videos for you, and I'm feeling exhausted like a man that is building a house all day for months, and oh, look at me, such a hard life that I have. No. I'm not trying to be that. And I know there's many more harder things to live with, and like, diseases and struggles, but still, even though I know that there are people that are having much harder life and bigger problems than me, it still doesn't cancel my own problems. Like, I still have to struggle and I still have to deal with them some other way. Like, knowing that other people also struggle doesn't really help, but talking the concerns through, even with myself, can also help process them, which can also lead to the action. And that's what I'm hoping for. Like, I'm getting this burden off of my heart, clearing up my mind kind of thing. And then, since there is some freed up space from these concerns and thoughts, I can come up with a solution on how to act next. At least that's what I found out recently from reading and watching some literature on psychiatry and psychology and everything like this. Being aware about such mechanisms and, common psychology concerns and problems and coping mechanisms clearly helps me overcome my struggles. So yeah, My wish to you is to never struggle like I do. And if you do, find somebody to share your struggles with, and then you both can go towards solutions together. Because when you share a burden, it's half a burden, but when you share a joy, it's a double joy. So yeah, I think I'm finished here. I don't want to know anything about your opinion on this one because to me it looks absolutely horrendous and I don't like a single part about it. But anyway, I think it was needed for me to process the whole overwhelm and the art block thing. So yeah, I guess it's done its part, and hopefully you were entertained enough with my speech here. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.